Hey everyone. Thank you so much for joining me for another Hormonology tip. I'm Gabrielle Lichterman, founder of Hormonology, creator of the Hormone Horoscope apps, and author of, if I can pick it up, 28 Days, What Your Cycle Reveals About Your Moods, Health, and Potential. Available at Amazon in both ebook and obviously paperback in Amazons all around the world. So, today, I want to start off with asking you a question. It's a big question. If you had the choice, when you had to do an activity that required lots of confidence, say going on a job interview or going on an audition or hosting a big event or even just doing a live stream like this, would you prefer, if you had the opportunity, to do it on a day when you knew your confidence was going to be peaking? Or would you just, you know, let it be a crapshoot and wherever it falls, it falls? Meaning, if you had the opportunity and you knew that, Tuesday, your confidence would be soaring, would you prefer to schedule that activity on that Tuesday? I think if you're like most of us, the answer is yes. You would prefer to schedule an activity where you needed lots of confidence on a day when you knew you were going to be confident. And well, that's what this whole talk about is today. Because if you have a menstrual cycle, then you can know what days your confidence is going to peak. What days of your cycle you're going to feel the most self assured and great about yourself, both your traits and talents as well as your appearance. And the great news is when you know when your confidence peaks, you can schedule as much as you can anything. You can schedule certain things to coincide with those high confidence days. So, before I get into which high confidence days are in your cycle, which days of your cycle your confidence is peaking, I have a bit of a caveat. If you're someone who is challenged with anxiety, continue watching this video all the way to the end because I have a special tip for you. So if you have anxiety, there's a little bit of a twist, but for everybody else, listen up because if you have a menstrual cycle, this is the time, the phase of your cycle when your confidence peaks. It's your week 2. And week 2 in your cycle is the week leading up to and including ovulation. So it's those days right before and including ovulation. Now, what's happening on these days that makes your confidence soar? Well, estrogen is elevated. So it's been climbing steadily since you got your period in week 1. So your week 1 starts with the first day of your period, and estrogen climbs from there. Well, during week 2, it's been climbing for a week already, and now it's still climbing, and it's elevated, and it's high, and it's rising. And all that spiking estrogen is telling the brain to release more chemicals that boost your mood, that boost your optimism, that boost your self-assurance, that make you feel good about yourself. They remind you that you are good at what you do, and you look great, and you sound great, and you are great. These brain chemicals just help you feel great. So that's why your confidence is boosted. So if you have the ability, if you're given the option to schedule something where you need confidence, or you're planning an event, or you're planning a meeting, or you're planning a talk where you have complete control, try to look at your menstrual cycle calendar and schedule it during that week 2 period of time, the week leading up to and including ovulation. You have the hormonal winds at your back. You're going to naturally feel better about your performance. And even if you mess up, because we all have flubs, I'm going to do probably a dozen in this video alone. When you're in your week 2, when you make a mistake, you're more resilient. You understand you made a mistake, but you bounce back faster. You don't hold on to it. You don't let it drag you down. So that's another benefit of scheduling things that where you need lots of confidence in that week 2, because not only do you feel great, even if you make a mistake, you get past it faster. Now, for those who are challenged by anxiety, week 2 may not be the time in your cycle to schedule activities where you need lots of confidence. And why is that? In women who have anxiety, high and rising estrogen can cause certain parts of the brain that help manage stress and anxiety overreact. So during your week 2, you may discover that you have a higher level of stress and a higher level of anxiety. And that's because of all this high and rising estrogen making things just a little bit too overreactive in the brain for you. Now, knowing this is good because if you have anxiety, it's good to know when these symptoms peak in your cycle so that you can manage your symptoms. But what can you do when you have an activity that requires lots of confidence? If um, if scheduling it during your week 2 results in a little bit too much stress or anxiety or worry, what is the best time in your cycle for you to schedule an activity that requires confidence? It's your week 3. Week 3 is the 8 days following ovulation. On these days, estrogen starts off by dropping quite steeply, and progesterone rises throughout. So progesterone really dominates that phase of your cycle, week 3. And progesterone is a sedating hormone. It's a hormone that's kind of like Xanax, really. It mellows you out, it chills you out for the most part in most people. And so you might discover that you excel at activities that require confidence during your week 3 because it calms your nerves. It calms that anxiety, at least a little. We all know, being challenged by anxiety, it's a serious issue and it's not going to go away just because progesterone is rising. However, it can take that edge off and make you less likely to have an overreaction like you could in your week 2. Now, because I don't believe just in cycle syncing, which is syncing your life with your cycle, I also believe in cycle living, which means living your life with your cycle and understanding that the world doesn't always bend to your will and allow you to schedule things in sync with your cycle. I want to explain what to do if you have to do an activity that doesn't coincide with the week of your cycle where your confidence is best. Now, if that happens, if you have to go on a job interview or go on an audition or host an event or head up a meeting, and it's not, the cycle week that where your confidence is peaking, don't despair. It's great when you have the hormonal winds at your back pushing your confidence along. I mean, it just happens naturally. It's effortless. You wake up and you're full of confidence because of your natural hormones. But hormones are not the only way to boost your confidence. You can boost your confidence many other ways, thankfully. And these ways, these techniques are different for each of us. For some people, their confidence may get a boost by writing a list of the traits that you love most about yourself. Just reminding yourself what's so great about yourself or what experience you have. Just reminding yourself you did this, that, and the other thing. And, you are a great person. You've done this. Other people like a mantra. They like to repeat something that that kind of calms them and soothes them and points them in a more positive direction. Some people like prayer. They pray for strength, pray for confidence. I use music. I use heavy driving, up-tempo music. I listen to it and I get all, pumped up and jazzed. And that's how I pump up my confidence on low confidence days in my cycle. So experiment with what works for you because then you can have confidence every day of your cycle and then enjoy even more confidence on those days in your cycle when your hormones are giving it to you naturally. So that's today's tip. This information, all of it, is in my book, 28 Days, What Your Cycle Reveals About Your Moods, Health, and Potential. Again, available at Amazon around the world. If you have any questions, email me, Gabrielle@myhormonology.com. If you have, if you're craving more information about how your hormones impact you, I have a lot of information on my website free. I have free ebooks on my website, short little guides, and just go there, myhormonology.com. And of course, subscribe to my channel. Okay, so that's all for today. I hope that helps you the next time you need to knock it out of the park with an activity that requires lots of confidence. Until next time.